Hello.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to another edition of the world's worst, second worst literary achievement.
This is the worst one.
50 Shades. Can I have a cupcake? Claire's birthday was yesterday, so she's like, there we go. Look at that. I just took the icing off. I'm allergic to gluten.
So everyone knows I like food. So everyone brought me food. So
we're on chapter 10.
Last week, Lillian was assaulted. She was assaulted by the elf. Are we almost done?
Yeah. We're on chapter 10 and 15. So we only have a couple more installments of this. That's scary.
Thank gosh.
Woo! Now my teeth are going to be blue.
We're going to have to find something else to do.
I know. What are we going to do next?
We should read something that I did.
Oh gosh, we should read something someone else did so that we don't have to shame ourselves on the internet. So, last we left off, Lillian's the chosen one. She's gotten medicine for her wounds now, and if it's not kept in bay, it will turn her into an orc.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why they don't just, let that happen.
That's so mean.
I mean, what has she done for us? She has a ring. That's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? To have been a lot more character building. Alright. Are you ready for this?
Y'all ready for this?
Alright, you're gonna get copyright strike. Chapter 10. A weight upon your shoulders. Later that day, Lillian was supposed to be resting, lying in a bed in the Hobbit's room, but she couldn't fall asleep. She was thinking about what had happened in the past week and how it had changed her life forever.
It's been a week.
I know.
She started 3 times.
Shalom had taken the ring to examine, but Lillian felt nervous and jittery without it in her pocket. She was scared Shalom was going to take it for himself. Lillian took a deep breath to calm down and reminded herself that Shalom was an elf and would never do such a thing. But still, there was a pit of worried in the bottom of her stomach.
Oh, I hate it when worried gets in my stomach. Worried. Suddenly,
Lillian was pushed out of her thoughts by the door to the room opening. Lillian closed her eyes and pretended to be asleep, hoping whoever it was would leave her alone. "I know you are awake, Lillian," said Alysai's voice. Lillian sighed and sat up. "Could I be alone, please?" she said exasperatedly.
Never!
"No," Alysai said. To prove her point, she sat down on Lillian's bed. "I need to talk to you about something," Alysai said seriously. "Is it about the ring?" Lillian said, sitting up straight. She began to feel panic rushing through her mind. Had something happened to it? Would Shalom take it for himself after all? "It has something to do with it, but not entirely," Alysai said. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear before she continued. "I don't know if you remember, but earlier today I said that you are the chosen one." Lillian
how
nodded.
could I forget that?
It had almost made her pass out.
Oh, again?
The ring is not as important to it. The ring is not as important to it as the one who wants it, Alysai said. She leaned in closer to Lillian. "Lillian, there is an evil being out there who wants the ring for himself, and I'm sorry to say that he is of my kind." What's that supposed to mean? His name is Eslan. Something clicked in Lillian's head. "Elot mentioned him to me before I started off on this crazy adventure," Lillian said.
Yes, because he's in cohorts with him.
"I'm glad he did," Alysai said. "Eslan used to be a very respectable elf, and also one of the most powerful. I know this because I loved him." I forgot that.
Wait, what? Excuse me? I know this because I loved him.
Alysai sighed. "Then he made the ring in your possession, and he started to change," she continued. "Slowly, he became less noble, less kind, and less, elf-like, turning darker by the hour. Soon he was not the elf I loved. And then I met my husband, and, I left Eslan. But leaving him was what pushed him over the edge." Alyssa brushed a tear off her face and stared at
Oh,
her
we
hands.
don't care about you.
Lillian started to chew her thumbnail and waited for Alyssa to continue. Lillian's done with your crap.
She's just like, mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm.
Oh
Keep
my
going.
gosh, that's amazing. That's the most relatable thing I've written so far. After a long while, Alyssa collected herself and said, I really can't say it was my fault, but in a way it was. Eslan learned the dark arts and converted to evil. He swore revenge on my husband and disappeared. I guess so. I don't know how he lost his ring, but you can be sure that he will do anything to regain it. Alyssa looked into Lillian's eyes. Now you have to destroy the ring so Eslan can't ever come back. Where did he go? And if he
Where did he come from? Cutting edge, Joe.
And if he does, he will destroy Middle Earth in a blink of an eye. Did I predict Thanos?
It was all of Middle Earth that time.
It's true. But like that. Alyssa took Lillian's hand. Do you understand? She asked. Lillian was breathing heavily by the time Alyssa was done. So many things were clear now. What?
Okay, nothing is clear to me right now.
She still didn't describe why she's the chosen one. She described why...
Oh, she's like, so this is why
you're the chosen one, but it's not about you. So many things were clear now, and Lillian was scared. But she nodded anyway. Alyssa smiled. I'm glad, she said. Then she turned serious again. There is a huge weight upon your shoulders, Lillian.
She was serious in the first place? I'm pretty sure this whole book is a joke.
Are you sure you can handle it? I can try, Lillian said firmly. But deep down inside her, Lillian felt as if it were all for naught.
No.
What could she, a small hobbit from the Shire who didn't even like attention, do to stop them, one of the most powerful beings
For
in
someone
Middle
who
Earth?
doesn't like attention, you'd sure do faint a lot.
Alyssa seemed to read Lillian's thoughts. I know it seems impossible to you, but we know from history that your kin are stronger than we think. Her ancestors were Bilbo and Frodo, remember?
What?
I can't go a chapter without mentioning it. Alyssa stood and crossed the room to the door. I know you can do it, Lillian, she said. I believe in you.
At least someone
Then she
does.
opened the door and left. Lillian stared at the door for a moment, pondering all of the information she had been given when suddenly a horrible thought popped into her head. What if the he, capital H, Shalom was talking about earlier, was Eslan? Lillian began to breathe heavily. What is happening?
I just popped the thing back down.
She touched her chest where her wound was and thought about the unnatural cold she had felt in the winter woods and the dream she had had while she was unconscious. Was that Eslan trying to take her? Lillian suddenly felt a true weight on her shoulders, and she knew that everything she was about to do was impossible, but she was still going to try. Suddenly, Lillian realized, I say suddenly so much. Suddenly, Lillian realized that Shalom was sitting next to her. Here is the ring back, Shalom said, taking out an envelope. Lillian tore open the envelope and breathed a sigh of relief when she saw the ring inside. I can find no other way to destroy this than the Fire Mountains, Shalom said. He sighed and sat back on the bed. Lillian, the first time I saw darkness, the same darkness in your veins was on him right before he turned evil.
Oh no.
Eslan, Lillian said. Shalom winced but nodded. I fear for you and all of your companions, he said. This is a very dangerous task ahead of you. I'm going to try, Lillian said firmly. It was like the third time she said it. She took the ring out of the envelope and put it back into her pocket. The pit of worry in her stomach slowly went away as Shalom left the room. The ring was back where it belonged.
The pit in my stomach
That's the end of the chapter.
The pit in my stomach comes whenever Shalom enters a room.
Do you want to read the next chapter since that one's so short?
It's rather short too.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and read chapter 11, which is slightly longer. All right, chapter 11, the forming of the second company. It was decided by dinner time that the company would stay at Shalom and Alyssa's house for at least 2 days to rest and restock. Lillian was very grateful to this decision as she was still not feeling very well. She slept all the way through the night and right past breakfast and second breakfast.
Second breakfast! What about second breakfast?
She woke up only when Angela accidentally tripped on a pillow that had slipped off the bed and fell right on top of Lillian.
Nice.
After a major pillow fight between the two of them.
Wait, what?
Lillian and Angela went to Elevensies together with a few feathers still in their hair. At Elevensies, Elot told the story of how he and Shalom had met. It was a day in spring, if I remember correctly, Elot began, when Shalom decided to go out into the winter woods alone. A stupid idea, really. I was but a boy, Shalom protested, but Elot ignored him. He got lost. For how many days was it? Elot asked Shalom. Shalom mumbled something. Louder, please, said Elot, a twinkle in his eye. 9, Shalom said, looking for the first time since Lillian had met him, embarrassed, the tips of his ears turning the slightest pink. Angela laughed out loud.
Ha!
Lillian
silly.
Tried not to smile, but it was very difficult. She couldn't imagine that the elf that had practically saved her life lost in the winter woods, just as the company had been. 9 days. He won't admit it, but if I hadn't found him before the orcs did, he would probably be dead, Elot concluded. Lillian smiled and said,
Great.
Well,
I wish he was.
I hope we can learn a lesson from this. Doctors are not navigators. The entire table burst into laughter. It wasn't very funny. Lillian, for the first time in her life, didn't feel embarrassed by all the attention. She felt comfortable and happy here. It was like the Shire, but better. Later that day,
What?
Lillian found...
Better. No context. It just is.
Later that day, Lillian found the library. It had to be the biggest library she had ever seen. But Makalet said it was a very small collection. The bookshelves went from floor to ceiling, filled to almost the breaking point with books of all shapes and sizes. Some books consisted of map after map after map. Others were full of stories and legends, true and fiction. Lillian could have spent the rest of her day there, but there were other things to be done. Provisions in the hobbits' packs had to be filled. All of Lillian's candles were broken, and her matches were soaked thoroughly.
Oh, speaking of, we didn't... Oh, her matches are soaked? Wait. Oh, no. Well, maybe her matches wouldn't have been soaked. You know, if Margin had brought the matches. Marjorie had
come full
Butterboy.
Butterboy. Had also sharpened Sting for Lillian. It was getting dull with the disuse. There was also the matter of refilling Macon's medicine bag. Shalom had chosen a few types of herbs and medicines, putting plus bandages and the like. Lillian refused to rest and helped with everything she could, especially jobs with Makalet. Makalet was the type of person you could tell anything to him and he would understand. Lillian helped him groom her pony and clean out the stables to find things that might be useful in the journey, and the entire time it felt like fun. Makalet was also an excellent storyteller and was always on his top guard. He confided in Lillian that if it weren't for him, his family might be dead now.
Oh, really?
Naneth has never really been a fighter, and when Ada was younger, he was shot by an orc arrow in the leg and was just barely saved. Now he can't really do anything. Oh, gosh, I'm having so much trouble. Now he can't really do any fighting whatsoever, and that's also why he limps, he told her. I was distracted because I used actual Elvish. I, Googled the Elvish words for mother and father. Alyssa had been washing and mending the hobbits' traveling clothes all that day. Lillian walked into the hobbits' room that night after supper and found draped over each of their beds their traveling habit, clothed, clean, and mended. Also, their capes were hanging by the fireplace. Lillian went to bed that night feeling happy and contented, forgetting what was going to happen the next day. Everyone was up by dawn the next morning. Food still had to be packed, and Shalom said that he had a special surprise for all of them after breakfast.
Oh,
Breakfast was good and hardly, but
Not
Lillian could
surprise.
barely eat a thing. Doom was settled like a weight in her chest. Hey, that's actually a nice bit of writing. Everyone was silent, thinking about what was ahead. After breakfast, the food was packed, and Lillian was introduced to lembas, a biscuity type of bread that worked miracles, making Lillian full with just one bite.
You have to put it in there, don't you?
Lembas bread. And what's this?
More lembas bread.
Then, when it was almost time to leave, Shalom came out holding a basket covered with a blanket. What are you doing?
I'm looking at how an arm bends.
Oh. Okay. Before you leave, I need to give you these to help with your journey, Shalom said. He took the blanket off the basket and gave it to Ajala. This blanket, no matter how cold and wet it gets, will always be warm and dry, and fits inside any vessel you choose, he said. Ajala took it carefully, as if it were a hollowed object. Thank you, she breathed, holding the blanket close to her. Shalom then took and bag out of the basket. Shalom then took and bag out of the basket and handed it to Macon. This bag will hold as much as you need it to, but it will always be lightweight and the same size. Macon smiled like a little boy receiving a birthday present and took the bag.
They have to give them the presents, right, Grace?
Yep, because that's what happens.
You know what that happens in the book. In the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah,
oh my
I know.
gosh.
Thank you, he said excitedly, and immediately started taking stuff out of the old, worn medicine bag and put it into the new one. Next, Shalom took out a small vial of liquid made of glass and handed it to Margin. This vial holds 2 doses of wish liquid to honor your bravery. Use it wisely, Shalom said.
What the heck is a wish liquid?
I don't know!
What is a wish liquid?
Margin took the vial, wide-eyed in astonishment of getting yet another valuable gift. Where did he get the first one?
That's where I'm going wrong. It's not going Okay, we're fine. I'm just trying to figure out human anatomy. Okay, that makes sense.
Lastly, Shalom took out a small silver chain and handed it to Lillian. This is made of mithril, the most valuable metal in Middle Earth. Put the ring on it, Shalom said. Lillian quickly took the ring out of her pocket and slid it onto the chain. Shalom then fastened the chain around Lillian's neck. Now only you and Elot can take of the chain, he said. Only one F.
A lot can.
Tucking the chain with the ring under the neckline on Lillian's dress. Lillian touched the lump that the ring made. Thank you, she said, looking up at Shalom. Shalom then smiled and said, I have one more gift for you. Then he called out Makalet, and Makalet stepped out of the shadows.
Here's my son. Your slavery
He was dressed like Lillian had never seen him, in a tight-fitting shirt and trousers that had been woven with elvish delicacy.
A gracious future husband.
A blue cape that swept down his silver boots. His hair was drawn back from his face in an array of different braids, and over his shoulder was slung his crossbow and a quiver of arrows. He had the slightest of smiles on his face.
Slightest.
Lillian was confused for a moment, but then it dawned on her. You're coming with us, she exclaimed.
Oh my
laughed. You are one of the smartest hobbits I've ever known, he said.
What the
his
frick?
eyes
Anyone
sparkling.
could have bloody got that. That is not a smart thing. And everyone else was just like, duh.
Mac laughed. You are one of the smartest... Oh, I already read that.
Yeah, you did.
He will protect you and take care of you, even if he has to jump off a cliff to do so, Shalom said.
Oh, please
as
let him do it.
stepped into line with the rest of the company. Now, I wish you the best of luck, Shalom said, stepping back to look at them all. And as you go through your adventure, remember that the fate of Middle-earth rests upon you. Alestai came forward and embraced each member of the company, starting with Makalet and ending with Lillian. As she hugged Lillian, Alestai whispered, remember your fate. Lillian had no idea what Alestai meant by that, but she could guess. I don't know what she means by that either, because we don't know why she's the chosen one. Mm-hmm. And then the second company left the warm comfort of the elven house and started off again on their journey.
Nice.
The end. I wish.
It could have ended there.
We've got 2 more chapters left, so we can probably knock this out next episode. So
okay,
if you liked this video, I will link the other videos in this corner up here. This cornery do. You can watch the entire series if you want, or you can't and just be confused about what's happening. If you want to, leave suggestions about what we should read next. Should I dig up my dystopian future series that I'm actually pretty proud of? Or we can pull a fan fiction off the internet, or we can
cry.
You can send me one and then we'll read.
Here we have Elot the Green Crossed Out Hobbit Killer. As you can see, he's wearing a dress. You mentioned that he has like the mud and stuff. I think there's a leaf hanging out there. I should have drew like a squirrel or something if I had more time.
That would have been really funny.
He's got a beard. I was like, why does he look so weird? And I'm like, I didn't get him a beard. And he's got a little hat, kind of floopy. I like his dress. And then here he's just casually holding a little knife, which he's going to do some stabbing with. And it says, Elot the Green, crossed out. Hurry, killer! He's gonna get you.
Okay.
That's enough of that.
Alright, well, I guess we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye-bye!